Hey there, viewer. Do you feel like you're meant for something greater in your life? Like you haven't yet reached that point of flow and motivation and determination and discipline and drive that you really want in your life? If that's the case, I would love to tell you about the Greater Coaching Program. My name is Adnan Woodsmith, and I'm the founder of the program. Now that I've made myself a little smaller on the screen, let me tell you about Greater. Our mission in the Greater Coaching Program is to reorient individuals who feel misplaced, despite reaching a place in life they thought was good enough, to let their unique greatness emerge. I'm wondering if that resonates with you, because that's the place I was in for about a decade at least. This program, you see, comes from my personal experience. The first mission that I felt I had in life was from about the age of 13 or 8th grade, when I was convinced I was going to become an FBI agent. That was my mission. That was my drive in life. It gave me drive. It gave me motivation, gave me confidence, feeling like I had a sense of where I was going. It propelled me to get good grades. It propelled me forward through college to be a valedictorian of my Ivy League institution, Dartmouth College. Propelled me to become fluent in Arabic because I asked my family friend at the time who'd done work with the FBI, what should I study to become an FBI agent? Should I do psychology, criminology? He said, no, they need Arabic speakers. This was right after 9/11. So I thought, okay, I'm going to study Arabic. Now, in the course of studying Arabic, my life changed. I became exposed to a different religious tradition. I became Muslim myself. And so I found myself now doing internships with the FBI while in college, and yet slowly coming to the realization that I could not be in this place. You see, that mission and that why that I had in my life, from 8th grade onwards, I took it from a test. It was given to me. I took a standardized test in 8th grade, one of those ones where you check some boxes, you total up some numbers, and it tells you what kind of work you should go into when you're thinking about a career. I scored highest in law enforcement. Go figure. I've always been someone who likes following rules, likes telling other people to follow rules, and likes to see other people suffer the consequences of not following rules. So I scored highest in law enforcement. I thought, okay, if I'm going to go into law enforcement, I want to go into the elite law enforcement that I can. So not just any police department, I want the FBI. At that time, post 9/11, the FBI, they were the superheroes. They were the people protecting our country, defending us from this threat of Islamic terrorism. Now, fast forward a few years after I initially have that mission, now I'm finding myself a Muslim, finding myself wanting to investigate Islamic terrorism, finding myself both wanting to be a key part of this religious and spiritual community, and yet realizing that this organization that works towards justice, works towards protecting and defending our country, that this was also targeting and profiling and discriminating against members of this religious community that I was now a part of. And I knew I couldn't do it. Don't get me wrong, I met great people in the FBI. There are great people in that organization with great intentions who've really done lots of powerful and essential work and continue to do so. But I knew, in terms of the work I was going to be placed in that institution, I couldn't do it. And so that why, that mission that I had in life that gave me so much motivation, gave me direction, gave me my confidence, showed me what direction to have in life, suddenly that was gone. It was taken from me. Now I felt a little lost. I felt like I was drifting. Felt like I didn't quite know what to do with my life. Well, one thing I knew to do was, at the time, I was courting with a sister, as we say in the Muslim community, getting to know a young woman interested in marriage. She was interested in me. I was interested in her. She was out in Berkeley, California, and there were many interesting institutions out there in Berkeley, one of which was called Zaytuna College, founded by these great men, these three founders of Zaytuna College. I had already been listening to some of their talks, their lectures, and benefiting from their scholarship and their work. And so I find myself now in Berkeley, California, having moved there because this sister I'm interested in marrying is there. She's doing a PhD program. I'm trying to find something to do. I get connections with this institution, work there for the summer, and decide to stay there as the student life coordinator. Now I had a mission. I had a why. At least I thought I did. You see, I had known that why that I had, becoming an FBI agent, that mission in life, it wasn't going to work for me. It wasn't sustainable anymore. And so I was looking for a different one. And here I find a good mission, a good why. Here are these three men looking to establish the first Muslim liberal arts college in America. I thought that was great. I wanted to commit myself to that mission. But you see, the issue was, it wasn't my mission. It wasn't what I was about deep down inside. And so as much as I tried to fit myself into that mission, as much as I did my best to serve that mission and to orient my life around that mission, it wasn't me. I felt I was meant for something else. I was peripheral to that mission as well, being a student life coordinator, not being a direct founder or professor, instructor at the institution. I was able to teach a few times there, but I wasn't a full-time instructor, and so I had this sense, this growing sense, that there was a disconnect between this why that I was trying to serve and what was deep down inside of me. And you know what that caused in me? I wonder if you can relate. I started getting depressed. I started getting down on myself. I thought, what are you doing, Adnan? What are you doing? You're at this great place. You should be happy about the position you have. You should be pleased. You should be moving on and excelling, but I was losing my motivation. I was losing my sense of where to go. And so I had to leave that job, figure out something else to do, which I did. I decided to commit myself full-time to memorizing the Quran, in addition to a few part-time gigs here and there just to keep the bills paid. I decided, you know what, I want to increase my knowledge. I want to memorize Quran and I want to serve the community in general. And serve the community I did. Within a year after leaving Zaytuna, I became the Imam and Muslim chaplain at Brown University, and I was there for 5 years. And it took me a few years to realize and to wake up to the fact that I was once again losing my motivation, becoming lost, feeling like I was treading water at work, treading water in my life, like there was time of mine that was being wasted, wasn't being committed to the right things. And it took me a while, but eventually I realized that I did not have a clear mission there, a clear sense of why I was there, other than trying to increase myself in knowledge and benefit others from that knowledge, serve this religious community and the people around me in Rhode Island. And I thought the issue, just as I had thought, part of me, that the issue was with Zaytuna when I left it. Similarly, I thought the issue was with Brown. I thought the issue was with me being at Brown. And so I left Brown. I left that position, decided that, you know what I want to do with my life is I want to teach Arabic. I want to become an Arabic instructor. And to that regard, then, I became a PhD student at Harvard University to get the qualifications to be able to become a full-time Arabic instructor. And that was good enough at the time. But once I actually got into the real nitty-gritty of Arabic instruction at the university level, it was then that I realized this still isn't quite what I'm about. There's something deeper that has to be there inside that I have to find and get grounded in, and ultimately my desire to teach Arabic is a function of that. That's not the one thing for me. Because I was starting to feel those emotions again, starting to feel lost, depressed. I would wake up unmotivated, not knowing what I was going to do that day, knowing there were things I had to do and should be doing, but not knowing specifically exactly what that direction was in my day-to-day, what I should be doing with my life. And I went to sleep not proud of what I'd done during the day, unmotivated, undisciplined to a certain extent. Once I realized that, I came to my whiteboard in my office at home, and I took a green marker, and I decided to write down what my why was, what that mission behind everything was. And I kept coming back to it, kept revising it, until I felt like I'd really settled on it. Really settled on this sense of something that was deep inside of me from the very beginning for as long as I can remember. And had this sense that my mission in life was to work to make this country, make America, a source of spiritual excellence in the world. Now that would have been good enough, except when it came to making decisions, when it came to being involved in certain conversations with people in my life, when it came to developing certain habits that I needed to work towards that why and that mission, I was still weak. I had the why, I had that defined, but I hadn't learned how to defend it. And so that's what I did. I took all of the lessons that I had learnt so far from the Islamic spiritual tradition, and I started to make them deeply practical and purposeful in my life to get me out of this state and teach me how to defend my why after defining it. And so at that same time as I started learning jiu-jitsu, and for the first time in my life was learning how to defend myself, how to deal with getting choked and not freak out, and get out of that position and into a more dominant one. Similarly, when life choked me out, tried to take my why away from me, when I didn't feel that confidence in terms of making the real bold decisions I needed to make, aligning my whole life and everything, my weekly behavior, my daily behavior, my relationships, the way I thought about success and about failure, aligning that all with my why. When I felt like I needed work in that regard, I kept working, I trained and applied these lessons, and ultimately that's what brings us to this program today. You see, we talk in the program about the greater why spectrum. You can have a why, you can have a mission in life, but my question for you is that really your greater why? Is it all the way to the right of the greater why spectrum? Let's start on the left, just with a quick recap of my story. When I started with my first mission in life, that was a mission that was slightly naive. I didn't understand the political ramifications of the position I was looking to get into. It was also dictated to me. A test told me to become an FBI agent, or at least told me to go into law enforcement. It was also destructive, not in and of itself, but destructive in terms of not allowing me to live the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. This woman I was interested in marrying, I couldn't see how I could be both married to her and have the kind of lifestyle that being an FBI agent required. And so it was destructive to what I felt my life needed to be outside of work. And this is what we call a defective why. And I want you to wonder if your why right now is defective. Did someone else give you that why, that mission in life? Did you start having that mission in life at a time when you understood less of the world than you do now? Does it need to be revised? Is that why potentially actually destructive to your other goals in life? Does it really serve your purpose of what you're all about? Ideally, greater than a defective why is what I was brought to after that, when I became the student life coordinator at Zaytuna College. But ultimately, the why and the mission that I had then was someone else's why. It's what we call a distant why, because it wasn't close to me. It didn't run deep within me. It wasn't me 100%, it was someone else's. Although that was greater than having a defective why, it needed to be greater still. And that's when I stepped into learning more about Islam, learning the Quran and serving the community. But my why was poorly defined. It didn't quite give me direction. It was a little too open-ended. And that's what we call a diffuse why. A why which is our own why. Yes, it's deeply rooted in us, but it's not completely defined yet. When I left my position of serving the community at Brown University and decided I was going to become an Arabic teacher, I had a clear why. I had a distinct mission in life, but for some reason it just came up in my life, and I realized after a few years that it was decent, but it was not great enough. There was something else I was being called to, because it still felt like a misfit, much better than how I felt with the defective why, the distant why, the diffuse why. The decent why was greater than that, but it still wasn't exactly where I needed to be. And so when I finally defined my why for myself, made it clear for myself what I was about, and found that and did the deep work inside myself to find that why that has defined me for as long as I can remember, I just might not have had the confidence and the wisdom to embrace it. That was when I had a clear, definitive why, but we were one step less than where we needed to be. Because you can have a defined why, you can define your why, but if you haven't learned how to defend it, there's something missing. And so I had defined my why, but I hadn't yet learned how to defend it. I felt susceptible to all kinds of internal doubts and external questioning and attacks, and not having the confidence completely in every situation to know exactly where I was going. And so I needed to learn how to defend myself, how to defend my why, be vigilant, and align my whole life around that why. And that is what we call a defended why. And that is what I wonder if you are after in this world, and if you could use some help with. Because we're meant for something greater. I know if you've stuck through with this video this long, you're wondering about this. You're wondering if you're meant for something greater. You're wondering where you are on this spectrum and how you can get to greater and greater and greater, and we want to help you get there. That's why we created this greater coaching program. I bet you can resonate with the depression, with the aimlessness, with the coasting, the feeling of drifting, not knowing where you're going, feeling like you're meant for something greater. I bet you can relate to that, those signs which are more to the left of the greater why spectrum. And I have a feeling that you want more of the signs and symptoms of being on the right side of the spectrum, having passion, having confidence in the face of uncertainty, having discipline, having an organized, oriented life, oriented around your why, and having the drive to pursue it day in and day out until the day you exit from this world. That's what we want to provide for you. And that's why we came up with the Greater Coaching Program. Here's how it works. First, let me tell you about the lessons that are part of the program that we'll take you through if you join us. The first stage of lessons is called Ascertain. Here's where we help you define your why. Make sure that you've defined it and understand how important it is to define that why properly. Then we help you define your well-being, the how around the why, if you will. The protection for your why that's going to enable you to have a sustainable life and sustainable rhythms that won't just let you get absorbed in and ultimately exhausted and burnt out in pursuing your why. Then we teach you who your foes are, who those enemies are internal to you, and because they're internal to you, they're internal to everyone else and therefore can be external to you, who those foes are that are trying to take your why away from you, trying to take you away from your why and poison your why for their own self-interest. After the stage of Ascertain, we have the stage of Unchain. In this stage, you will learn how to properly understand failure and embrace it healthily, how to approach decisions in a way in which is grounded in your why and grounded in your confident ability to pursue that why and take bold decisions. Then we'll teach you about success, what that really looks like, rather than what we're taught success looks like, which is often about simply checking certain boxes and accomplishing certain things which may or may not be in line with our ultimate why as unique individuals. Once you're done with the unchain phase, we take you through the retrain phase. In this phase, you'll learn about how to reassess the mindsets, all of the voices in your head that cause you to think a certain way about your behavior throughout the day and about your pursuit of your why, and bring those in line and serving your why. Wouldn't that be great? For the voices in your head to become your allies rather than your enemies. That's what we want to help you with. Then we want to help do an inventory of the behaviors you have, the habits you have throughout the day, throughout the week, the month, the year, and think through how do we bring those habits in the most effective way aligned to your why, so that you can be in that flow and focus as much as possible in your life. Then we take an inventory of your relationships. Think through, what are the relationships you can choose to be in or not be in? Are they aligned with your why? How can you lean into certain friendships which support you and give you that drive towards your why? And let those friendships that take you away just kind of wilter away and not be so important in your life. And for those people who you don't get to choose, your family, your kids, for those relationships, thinking about if there are elements of those relationships that take you away from your why, how can you inoculate yourself against the mindsets and the enemies that come up in the dynamic of that relationship, and ultimately turn that relationship into one which is serving both your why and helping that other person be motivated and be a full human being themselves. The last stage is attain. After we've done the retraining, we've unchained ourselves from these unhealthy aspects of our lives, we've retrained ourselves now to use these aspects of our lives that were holding us back to propel us forward. We can really get into the lifelong pursuit of consistently learning how to stay according to our why and our how, and vanquish our enemies in the pursuit of that. And that involves, for one, contemplating our own demise, reflecting on our mortality, and letting the energy that comes from that reflection, comes from that embrace of what we all fear deep down, motivate us into living a life that is meaningful for us. We also work on coming to commitment to a specific scripture or a specific writing or source of wisdoms which is going to give you a civilizational wisdom package for you that's going to help give you that sense of constantly learning lesson after lesson, benefiting from the wisdom of those who've passed, or even from your past wisdom, which you easily forget, so that you can keep moving and excelling in your why. And then finally, we take you through how to choose a mentor, why that's important in your pursuit of your why, and what kind of relationship you should have with them. This program is designed to take you about 3 to 6 months. How long it takes you depends on your motivation, how quickly you want to go through the program. All we'd ask for in the program is a commitment of about 1 to 2 hours a week. Even if it's 1 hour a week, every other week, that can work too. It's just going to affect how quickly you can go through the program. But this program is not meant to be something that's intensive work. It's meant to fit into your lifestyle so that you can slowly change everything in your life around and orient it around to your why. We would welcome you to an online training platform that provides a community as well of all of the people in this program. On that platform, you will have a direct channel with me. You'll have access to these 12 training modules, these 12 lessons, and then filling out the workbook for those lessons, we will be giving you individualized feedback on your work. Also on that platform are resources and additional training from self-improvement experts, either to fill in holes that we feel like could be better filled in our program and for all of you in the program, or just simply bringing on great people with great expertise to continue to help you to think about how to live according to your why and live your best life. As part of the program, you will have several one-on-ones with me, and also weekly or bi-weekly group training calls. Whether it's weekly or bi-weekly is going to depend on your availability and how much you want to put in the program on a regular basis. So that's the overview of the program. Ultimately, we want to provide you, we want to get you to that space of feeling like you are reaching your greater potential. You are tapping into that potential that you've let lay dormant for so long. You're moving, you have that forward trajectory. We want to commit to you, and so this also requires a commitment from your part as well. And so There is a cost to the program, but I want to just mention too, we have a referral program. If you bring someone into this program, or if you think that you might know someone who would be interested in this program, go ahead and click the link at the end of this video to submit a referral. And if that person becomes a participant in the program, we want to give you a big thank you and send at least $450 your way to say thank you for helping someone else come to their greater potential. And with that, I want to ask you if you're interested in the program now. Does this interest you at all? Can you relate to what I have been talking about in terms of my life experience and what we help treat and deal with in this program? If you can, and if you can at all, I encourage you, click the link right now on this video and at the end of the video for the free call with me. I would love to jump on that free consult, tell you more about the program. I can't wait to see you, can't wait to see this transformation happen for you and facilitate that, and for me to grow as well, all of us in the program to grow as well from the greatness that you will step into. Thank you very much.